We're here at PDC 2017. We're talking with Ted Gray from SciCan. Ted, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for taking the time, Melissa. It's very nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, and I understand you're going to tell us something more about the STATIM 5000.
Yes, the STATIM 5000, invented in Canada by a Canadian company. It's been a staple on the market in Canada for about 25 years now. And at one point, almost every single dental office in Canada had a STATIM sterilizer in their reprocessing.
And what made it such a staple in dental offices?
Back in the early 90s, there became a need to sterilize instruments more repeatedly and more quickly. So things like handpieces up until the early 90s weren't actually sterilized. So the STATIM was designed as a handpiece sterilizer and to turn things over very quickly. So from the time that you hit the start button to the time you could get the instruments back sterile was about 6.5 minutes. Compared to a conventional sterilizer at the time, which could be almost an hour.
Now that is a huge difference.
It was, and it meant that the dental office could get by with fewer instruments because they could turn them over much quickly.
So how does an office benefit from having a STATIM if they also have a chamber autoclave?
Chamber autoclaves are great, and the speed of the chamber autoclaves has come down. They've gotten much, much faster. But because of the way they're designed, they can be a little bit hard on some equipment. So for example, like your handpieces, to make the turbines last longer, they much prefer the STATIM.
And exactly how does G4 technology increase efficiencies for offices and for dental staff?
The G4 technology is very cool. Under Canadian law, you have to keep a record of every single sterilization cycle you run. So the G4 technology allows us to plug in a USB stick, record all the cycle data directly onto a USB stick, but it also allows us to hook directly to their computer system and via a network cable or Wi-Fi connect to the World Wide Web. What that allows them to do is to have off-site data storage without having to pay for it. We at SciCan will store that data for them encrypted at no charge. What it also does, if anything was to go wrong with the STATIM would automatically email the factory itself. We could then contact the office and say, hey, you've got this error code, can you check these 3 items to make sure that they're functioning properly? If they can't find the problem, with their permission, they'll give us a code on the screen and we'll take control of the machine from Toronto. We'll then test every single individual component from Toronto, and if there is something wrong, we will contact their service technician and say, please go out to Dr. Smith's office with this part to solve the problem. So instead of having 2 or 3 service calls, we can get it all accomplished in one.